Oh boy, life is a bitch. Shh, don't tell anybody. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Electronic Box channel. I'm Nico, and today the video will be terrible. You'll hate me for that, I'm sure. I guarantee you that. And no, the video will not be dedicated on this DJ gear. Life is a real roller coaster sometimes. Not such a long time ago, I made a video dedicated to RME and why I love them and why I hate them. Today I still stay behind my words. After that video I made another one where I compare RME versus Universal Audio, where I share why Apollo Twin X is my favorite sound card and what I like about Universal Audio devices. Today something again controversial happened. Before you start bombarding me with stupid comments that RME is better and so on, just listen to me, okay? I will still choose Universal Audio 7 days a week against RME, just to know that. But let me tell you what's changed and what happened. If you don't have the time to wait, the shorter version is that Universal Audio can't make a single working driver for Windows computers. End of story. Now, if you want the whole story, just bear with me for a while. 2 days ago, a manager of one studio that is 3,000 kilometers away did call me and ask me if I can make a remote recording session. If you don't know what this is a procedure where, for remote recording, for voiceover projects from my studio to another side of the world. Usually for this, the most used software is Source Connect, or another similar one. When we tried that, I was hearing myself okay, but the other side audio was choppy, sliced or distorted. On the next day, I have tried the same connection with a friend that is just 2 kilometers from my house. And the result was again bad, while the internet speed is pretty fantastic, to be honest. The same choppy and distorted sound problem. And before you start other possible bad comments on settings, yes, all Universal Audio recommendation Windows settings were made. Power option, processor state and all other crap that don't work at all. And before saying that maybe I run bad Thunderbolt card, I have to tell you that I use Gigabyte Designer motherboard with direct Thunderbolt on the motherboard. That's the fastest and securest option with all driver support, etc. Then I contact Universal Audio and they start to convince me how my PC is super bad and how I have to send them a log file for checking and all crap that scammers like UA support can think of. My PC is with i7 processor and 128 gigs of RAM and a few NVMe drives, and it can edit 4K video without a hassle. But Universal Audio support can't stop saying how my PC is the weakest link and that I can't record a single microphone with this PC remotely. Total idiots. I told Universal support that they are dumb fuck, and I connect my 10 years old USB Apogee Avid Quartet sound card. Guess what? The same PC, the same DAW software, the same partner on the other side, the same internet connection, and we had zero problems. Everything was working great with Apogee. This was my own real life experience. I don't care if somewhere works. I don't care. I care that here with me Universal Audio not works for remote sessions. And that's why I share it, because this potentially will happen to you as well. Universal Audio sound card that uses Thunderbolt with 3 or 4 gigabytes transfer speed can't handle one mic. That's pathetic, ladies and gentlemen. Universal, go back and never produce a sound card that supports Windows. Mac users are okay, and there is no problem with Mac OS. But Windows is another story. Apogee that has USB 2.0 has none of the problems on the same test. After that I bought RME UCX II. And while the RME team always spitting on me some bad comments, again I will be totally honest and I will share exactly what I think for their product and what my real life experience and feel about it. The outfit and craftsmanship of UCX II is simply outstanding. The level of details in all connectors and buttons are top of the top. Design-wise, if you ask me, it will not win any award, but I'm fine with that. It looks okay and good. Next thing, One knob that does 55 things. Power on, power off, volume panning, and gazillion other things. What to say about it? I really hate it. Channel organization is super poor. If you start counting the channels, like channel 1, channel 2, and so on, at some point you'll be lost in what channel is dedicated to the headphones, no number or label on them, and what channel is the main out, and what channels are inputs 5 and 6, or 5 and 6 was the output. You'll get lost very, very fast. What else is bad? In my previous video, I already discussed the mixer, so I will just want to mention one small part of it that is also bad. I know how it's labeled and which row is dedicated for the inputs or which one is for the outputs, and it still confuses me every day. I will call this little mistake. Not little, but Lidl, like the supermarket, right? Actually, in Lidl it's not a mistake. They on purpose put the small value on top, but your higher price is below where you are not looking. Something similar is here. With the RME mixer that is called Total Mix FX, and I call it Total Miss of any sense, on top is the input row. Great, but the label is on the bottom to confuse you with the second row. The second row has become even more confusing this way, because you still don't know up or down to look at. I was complaining also that the Apollo Twin X becomes a lot hot during operation, but guess what? RME has the same trick in the work process. This might be normal, I get that, and I accept that, but nobody mentions this anywhere. Sound-wise, I still prefer Universal, but their drivers simply block my remote work, and this was the single and only deal breaker for me. It is a shame that such a great company like Universal does not pay a few grand to someone to make their drivers better. On the other hand, the RME drivers are solid as a rock. This is not something new. I did mention that in my previous video as well. So finally, with a bit of sorrow, I sold my Universal Twin X and I'm back to the RME roots. Simply because of their drivers and the wider spectrum of capabilities, not because of the card or the sound or other thing. I really want to try Moto, and if Moto team is brave enough to send me a unit for a real-life, long testing and honest review, I will do my best to make my honest and detailed review for them as well. Like I told you, life is a bitch. Pardon me and my villager language, but I'm super emotional now. That's why I leave some dark emotions to take advantage of my otherwise humble and ordinary persona. To wrap up this short and I think controversial episode, I can say the following. Both cards, Universal and RME, are great sound cards. And both cards have some, let's face it, super dumb things to fix. However, if you are a Windows user, you just have to forget about Universal. Don't touch it, don't buy it, don't even look at it. Just buy RME. If you are a Mac user, then Universal will work flawlessly on almost every Mac. And it might be a better choice. But you know the Mac approach. You always have to buy newer and newer model every single year. The man who bought my Apollo sound card is with macOS, and he is super happy with the results. What can be improved? Well, Universal. Drivers. RME. Please don't touch your drivers. RME must add more buttons and logic and ease of use, and logic on how things are labeled, where they are located, and also how they are named. A bit later on that. Last but not least, 2 headphone outputs for every RME model. And while we are speaking of improvements, Universal Audio has some partially helpful videos on many topics. However, they don't explain some key elements. For example, when I sold my card, the new owner right away started installing the card. Everybody will do that, right? And he found that my additional 2 plugins were missing. It turned out that if you want to sell your interface with the plugins, first you have to press transfer my device out of my account and then choose the option with all plugins. And all that prior selling. Only then the card will include all the plugins when the second owner installs it. And all this in that order. By the way, I almost forgot about one big plus for RME. This card has a special function called DUREC. DUREC is an integrated digital recorder for all inputs and outputs directly to USB memory devices via the USB port. The Fireface UFX series and the Fireface UCX II can record on USB thumb drives or hard drives with up to 2 terabytes capacity. It is possible to record roughly 40 channels of audio via USB 2.0. Get this universal audio, and all that without a computer, directly on a USB flash memory stick. Whilst the RME teams hate me, like I told you, I will be completely honest and always will share both the positives and the drawbacks. By the way, RME, please, when you put some non-existing name on some feature of your units or model name, at least make a research what does it mean in other languages. Your DUREC sounds almost the same as the Russian word durak. You can check what it means. Many people that speak Russian will be laughing, I'm sure. It also sounds super close to Durex. So you can name directly your next feature porn, you'll have many fans. Or hire someone like me to help you to make your products better, more sophisticated, or at least help you to gain some logic in the process. We are reaching the end of today's edition of Electronic Box, ladies and gentlemen. If you find the topic interesting, funny, or at least entertaining, you can support me and my team with a coffee or two at www.buymeacoffee.com/carburetor or become our Patreon member at www.patreon.com/carburetor. These links include the name Carburetor because I run a second YouTube channel called Carburetor, hence my 20 plus years experience in the automotive industry. From me, Nico, be well, stay safe, and let the sound be with you, Audio Jedis. I will see you in the next episode.